very much on point, taking no chances. So very few details to give you, I'm afraid, except that they are responding as if this were a terror-related incident, is what they're saying, because they just don't take any more chances.
Were there any warnings going into this weekend? I mean, did the police put out any kind of extra warning for people there in London?
No, but we were reporting just, nothing specific to London, but we were reporting just a week ago about ISIS propaganda that was targeting Christmas holidays, the Vatican, the Pope, Mass. So certainly we have seen propaganda in general targeting this festive season.
Benjamin, and we have to be careful when we do report these initial details. Just after the most recent terror attack here in New York City, with that terrorist driving a rental van into crowds of people on a bike path in Lower Manhattan, killing 8 people. Again, I remember the initial reports out of that was it was a road rage incident, or there were reports of shots fired, and indeed it was police firing at the terrorist. So we report what is out there, but again, these are developing details. But Benjamin, have you seen any change in the number of people coming to London, in how just Londoners...
This is a fluid situation right now in London about police responding as if it was a terror attack now to Oxford Circus incident, and we don't know exactly what transpired, as you could hear, but we'll do that on our program when things are fluid like this particular situation, to just to hear the sounds as when they're breaking. But we'll definitely be monitoring that situation to see what happens. But it is a reminder that ISIS has threatened not just London, but the West in general. We are stepping up efforts around this country. Malls and shopping apparatuses are under heavy security. Airports, bus stations. Just be extra vigilant this time of year when you're traveling or out and about. We do know that ISIS has said that during the holiday season that they're going to try to definitely do a shock and awe. And Inspire magazine, I hate the name that they use that, but that's the generator that fuels up these loose cannons in our country that carry out these heinous attacks. So let's just say a prayer, and hopefully nobody was killed there in London. And we pray that God would definitely help law enforcement officials and folks find these idiots before they're able to actually carry out something very, very sinister. There was a shooting that was reported outside a Missouri mall late yesterday. Hear about that? Left a 19-year-old with life-threatening injuries. The incident occurred outside the Columbia Mall in Columbia, Missouri, when a man, according to this report, allegedly fired his gun after attempting to put it in his holster. And according to the affiliate out there, KMIZ, it wasn't immediately clear if the shooting was accidental or deliberate. So we're still trying to find out a little bit more about this story. But we're literally just talking about it, how we thought it was pretty lucky that nothing happened tonight. And then we come out, and this is what we saw. Brittany Hoon, a shopper, was telling KSHB, it's kind of scary, to be honest. Police haven't made any arrests. There's been nobody outside. We have everybody we need to talk to. Nobody was in any sort of danger. Sergeant Clint Sinclair of Columbia Police Department was telling KSHB, we have our detectives investigating as well as our forensic evidence teams, but there's no danger to any shoppers or anything at any point during the situation. But the 19-year-old with life-threatening injuries. So the injured person's identity was not immediately known, but a little scare there last night outside, once again, the Columbia Mall in Columbia, Missouri, and was a kind of a shocker to neighbors. But, just in the day and age of terrorism, there's some shots fired, and that happens, set people running for cover. I mean, how many kids are running around, but adults trying to take cover just themselves, but it's a nerve-wracking thing. So just be vigilant, folks. Be careful out there. It's just, unfortunately, the world the world we live in. Here's a idiot, a convicted child sex trafficking guy in Colorado, and sex trafficking is just at an all-time high. It's just amazing how many kids are actually drug into this. Brock Franklin, 31, is who we're talking about, was sentenced to 472 years in prison for operating a prostitution ring that preyed on young girls and women. He was found guilty on 30 counts, including human trafficking, sexual exploitation of child prostitution and pornography and kidnapping by an Arapahoe County jury in March. Fox 31 Denver reported Brock Franken was sentenced to 472 years in prison this past Tuesday. Originally indicted by a grand jury in 2015, prosecutors said that he used drugs and violence to control young girls and routinely forced them to have sex with him and sold their services online. A 400-year sentence sends a strong message across the county and the country that we're not going to tolerate this kind of violence to women and vulnerable populations. Janet Drake with the Colorado Attorney General's office was telling Fox 31, former child advocate and Attorney General, is telling the nation that anybody that does this, we are going to not take kindly. I am thinking, let's do worse. 472 years. Well, obviously, nobody lives that long, but no chance of parole, never seeing the light of day. Well, we don't know that, but he's not getting out. To me, anybody that does these particular crimes against vulnerable women, does these particular things, deserves the electric chair. Are you with me on this? I mean, Catholics probably not going to call, not going to email me, but I'm not Catholic. Now, I am a born-again Christian. But what did Jesus say? You're better off having a millstone tied around your neck than to lead one of these little ones astray. I just think that there's definitely a place. But, maybe that's just Jesus talking. I'm just thinking that's just too lenient. Too lenient on a guy. He'll still be able to get visitors, still able to get commissary, still able to eat meals that he wants to eat because you can order stuff. You can get stuff in. And he's probably going to get people that loved him, adored him, what he did. Probably has some money somewhere set aside that somebody will send him. But it's you don't hear about it every day unless you look for it. And, I comb all the wires and I talk to people in law enforcement here in the Tampa Bay area. And sex trafficking has made it here. It's just about everywhere. It's huge business. And they prey on young teenagers, young ladies. They drug them up. They're down on their luck. And then they control them, they manipulate them, they poison their brains, they steal their souls, their innocence altogether is taken away, and they're literal sex slaves. And I think it's a great message. I think it's terrific with the Attorney General, the message they're trying to send. But, folks, don't lose sight on this stuff that goes on all around us. And it happens in small-town America to some of the biggest cities out there. And just when parents think that they know everything there is to know about their daughters that go off to universities and colleges, a lot of the universities and colleges, you wouldn't believe it. You say, oh, they came from great families. It doesn't matter what kind of families. They're seduced into this lifestyle. They're seduced into it. And they make this money easily. And one thing that it's very interesting is that there's this phenomenon called sugar mamas or sugar daddies. But that's the biggest thing of being a sugar daddy. Have you ever heard that? Oh, you be my sugar daddy. You know what that is? If you don't know what it is, just I'll explain it. Just a nutshell. Is that if you want your way with a lady, you buy her nice things and she gives you exactly what you want. Okay? You don't have to wine and dine her. You could. That could be part of the sugar daddy experience, but you pretty much pay for play. So it's, it's prostitution. This is that this guy that we're talking about has got all this 400 jail time, 472 years. This guy made major profits. The girls probably made nothing, hardly anything. I mean, threw him some victuals, paid their rent. Guy had sex with them to control them, beat the hell out of them. But women that put themselves in this lifestyle maybe be controlled by a pimp, or they're private contractors where they actually pimp out their own bodies. I know it's the oldest, what do they say, the oldest profession on the books, prostitution. Is unbelievable. People, I guess if you can't get a date, you can rent a family in Japan. Rent a family, yeah. As people did during the holidays, their Thanksgiving. They don't have a family of their own. They rent a family to come in to have a meal with you, socialize, have pie with you, and then you send them off. They act like they're your family. What does the world come to? It's really, really sad. This is sick. Colin Kaepernick, just when you think that this guy could possibly redeem himself, there's a reason why. There is a real reason why Colin Kaepernick, the former San Francisco 49er quarterback, can't get a job. Nobody wants to touch him. He took part in the annual On Thanksgiving Day on Alcatraz. I mean, this fits the narrative. This really, truly, unequivocally fits the narrative of Colin Kaepernick, and I think this is the death knell. If anybody was trying to find Colin Kaepernick a job, or if anybody was feeling sorry for Kaepernick in the mainstream, listen to this audio coming out from Alcatraz and what was being touted. This is an annual celebration, but he was a speaker. Colin Kaepernick came out to, when you were celebrating, and America largely was celebrating Thanksgiving, he was celebrating on Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, don't be thankful. Listen to the audio. This is from yesterday on Alcatraz. Here we go. Hit it.
We're still here. We still resist.
We are not going to stand against the current day American genocide and what that represents. We have a relative that's here today with us, and his name is Colin Kaepernick. And so, thank you, Colin Kaepernick. A big ode to you.
He honeywashed the Oyate, my people.
I danced with these feathers for 39 years in honor to give these.
It truly is an honor to be here today. I'm very humbled to share this space with all of you. And thinking about coming and supporting, I realize that our fight is the same fight. We're all fighting for our justice, for our freedom. And realizing that we're in this fight together makes us all the more powerful.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? This is just... all right, geez, really? Now, what are you, Indian? I mean, come on, give me a break. You're in justice, brother. You get paid millions of dollars to play football. Okay, you're not on the plantation. You're not picking cotton anymore. You got the opportunity to do something that very few people are afforded to do. And this is, I don't even, do you have a PR person? Do you have somebody that handles, do you have a coach? Do you have somebody that helps you, that mentors you? This is just definitely not a great place to put yourself. But this is his, apparently this is his cause. He's going to put himself, into the fray of people that feel like that they're in, instead of trying to go beyond some of the painful chapters in American history, some of things that have happened that are not necessarily fair, instead of just going on and trying to be thankful for some of the progresses that have been made, in real progress that has been made, for real, is now to put himself into the indigenous peoples as Indians, as he is an Indian, as putting himself as an African American.